Welcome back. Here is the topic chain rule. Here we discuss questions involving proportions. There are two types of proportions, direct proportion and indirect proportion. Let us see what is meant by direct and indirect proportion. You take two quantities A and B which are related. Two quantities A and B which are related in some way. If A and B both increase, we say that A and B are in direct proportion. If A and B both decrease, we say that they are in direct proportion. See examples. Uh, if we go to market and purchase different items, the cost increases if we purchase more items. That is, when items increases, cost increases. So items and cost are in direct proportion. If more laborers are employed to do a work, then more work can be completed. So number of laborers and work, they are in direct proportion. Now take or see what is by indirect proportion. Assume that A increases but B decreases. Then we say that A and B are in indirect proportion, or A decreases but B increases. That is, one quantity increases, the other one decreases, or one decreases, the other one increases. The quantities have opposite nature. Then we say that they are in indirect proportion. For example, if we take a moving vehicle, if speed increases, the time required to reach the destination decreases. That is, speed and time are in indirect proportion. If we consider the case of work, if more laborers are involved, then time required to complete the job is less. They are in number of laborers and time required to complete the job. They are in indirect proportion. Now we go to questions involving direct proportion and indirect proportion from the practical situations, or we discuss practical situations where these proportions are involved. For example, we assume that 15 pencils cost rupees 60. 15 pencils cost rupees 60, and the question is, what is the cost of 35 pencils? This is a very simple problem which even a 4th standard student can solve this question, and you already know how to solve this question from school classes. Using that technique, 15 pencils cost rupees 60. So what is the cost of one pencil? One pencil costs rupees 4. One pencil costs rupees 4, while 15 pencil cost rupees 60. Therefore, 35 pencils cost 35 into 4, which is 140. A simple one. And let us see how this question can be solved using the idea of proportions. Here we consider first 15 pencils with the cost 60. Then consider 35 pencils and we have to find out the cost of 35 pencils. Here 15 pencils increases to 35 pencils. Therefore, we say like this: more pencils, more cost. More pencils, more cost. So, pencils, number of pencils and cost, they are in direct proportion. Why? When the number of pencils increases, the cost of those pencils increases. Therefore, they are in direct proportion. And then we write like this: 15 is to 35. This is the ratio of the pencils. 15 is to 35. And what's the cost? For 15 pencils, it is 60. And you assume that X is the cost of 35 pencils. You assume that X is the cost of 35 pencils. And we write like this: 15 is to 35 as 60 is to X. Or we write like this: 15 is to 35 equal to 60 is to X. And take multiplication, this is a proportion. Therefore, if we multiply like this, then we get 15 into X, 15 into X equal to 35 into 60. 35 into 60. Therefore, X equal to 35 into 60 by 15. And this one is, we can cancel 50 from 60 and 15. Therefore, it is 35 into 4 equal to 140. The same thing we obtained in both cases. We reach at this same step. Thus, this question can be solved using the idea of direct proportion. And next we go to a case where indirect proportion is involved. Take this question: 36 men can do a work in 25 hours. In how many hours will 15 men do it? We know that when 36 men decreases to 15 men, naturally the number of hours required to complete the work increases. Therefore, number of men and hours needed, they are in indirect proportion. That is, we write like this: less men. Why do we write less men? Because here number of men decreases. Less men, more hours. More hours means more hours needed to do the job. Here number of men decreases, then number of hours increases. When number of men increases, number of hours decreases. Therefore, they are in indirect proportion. They are in indirect proportion. And next step is like this: you write the ratio of number of men. 36 is to 50. And you assume that the required number of hours is X. The answer is X. Therefore, the ratio of number of hours is 25 is to X. But therefore, in this step, we write like this: x is to 25. To solve the question, we write like this in the reverse order because it is an indirect proportion. And you multiply like this. Then 36 into 25 equal to 15 into x. From this, x equal to 36 into 25 by 15. Simplify that. 36 into 25 by 15. Cancelling 5. Here 5. Here 3. Again cancelling 3. It is 12. And 12 into 5, which is 60. And it is 60 hours. That is, when the number of men decreases to 15, 60 hours is needed to do the job. Next we go to some complicated problems. Here, wages of 6 men for 15 days is 2100. Find the wages of 9 men for 12 days. Wages of 6 men for 15 days is rupees 2100. We have to find the wages of 9 men for 12 days. Number of men becomes 6 to 9 and number of days decreases from 15 to 12. And you take here number of men increases. Therefore, we write like this. More men. When number of men increases, wages increases. Therefore, more wages. Therefore, number of men and wages, they are in direct proportion. Next, take number of days. Here, 15 days decreases to 12 days. Therefore, we write like this. Less days, less wages. Why? Number of working days decreases, then number of wages decreases. Therefore, less days, less wages. They have the same nature, therefore, they are also in direct proportion. Now we present the given question in this way. We write here men, then days, and write in this row the ratio of men, that is 6 is to 9. Then write the ratio of days, 15 is to 12. Then write like this. Here you write the ratio of the wages. Assume that the required wages is x, and here both are in direct proportion. Therefore, we write the ratio of the wages like this, where x is the required wage. Next step is 6 into 15. 6 into 15 into x. 6 into 15 into x equal to 9 into 12 into 2100. This is the order. 6 into 15 into x equal to 9 into 12 into 2100. And therefore, x equal to 9 into 12 into 2100 by 6 into 15. And remains only simplification. 9 into 12 into 2100 by 6 into 15. Here 12 by 6 is 2. Now cancel 3 from 9 and 15. Here remains 3. Here remains 5. And 2100 by 5. That is, here in 21 4 times, and this is for 20, and therefore it is 3 into 2 into 420, that is uh, 6 into 420, that is 6 into 0 0, 6 into 2 12, 6 into 4, that is 24, plus 1, that is 25. Therefore the wages of 9 men for 12 days is 2520. Last question. 15 men working 9 hours a day can do a job in 16 days. In how many days will 18 men do the job working 8 hours a day? In the first case, 15 men working 9 hours a day. The second case, 18 men working 8 hours a day. And in the first case, it takes 16 days to complete the job, and we have to find out the number of days required to complete the job in the second case. And 15 men increases to 18 men. Therefore, we write more men. When number of men increases, number of days to complete the job decreases. Therefore, less days. More men, less days. Therefore, they are in indirect proportion. We write here indirect proportion. Again, consider the number of hours working in a day. The first case 9 hours, second case 8 hours. So, number of hours per day decreases. Therefore, less hours, we write like this, less hours. When number of hours per day working per day decreases, automatically total number of days increases. Therefore, more days. Less hours, more days. Therefore, these two are in indirect proportion. Here also indirect proportion. Next, we present the given problem like this as in the previous problem. First men, then hours, and write here the ratio of number of men, that is 15 is to 18. And here write the ratio of hours per day, 9 is to 8. Then write like this. And here we have indirect proportion. We assume that the required number of days is x. Therefore, the ratio of the days is 16 is to x. Since this is a case of indirect proportion, we write the ratio in the reverse order, that is x is to 16. Now, from this multiply, taking this as a proportion, that is the order is 15 into 9 into 16 equal to 18 into 8 into x. 15 into 9 into 16 equal to 18 into 8 into this x. And therefore, x equal to 15 into 9 into 16 by this 18 into 8. Simplification, 15 into 9 into 16 by 18 into 8. 16 by 8 is 2. 18 by 9 is 2. Cancel 2 and this 2 remains 15. That is, if 18 men works 8 hours a day, it takes 15 days to complete the job. With this question, Let us stop here. This topic. Thanks to all.